Shalom. Apostle Hakan back at you with the truth, giving all praises to Yahweh Shem Shabbat Shem Kakadash. I was sitting here for a while trying to come up with a topic and just going through different videos, you know, waiting for the spirit to come hit me. Anyway, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm going to entitle this Russians Hit Babylon, or Dream of Russians Hit Babylon. This is from a new, the Prophecy Club with Stan Johnson. The video was just put up 2 days ago, entitled New Info America After Russians Attack. The date that it was put up, of course, is 3/28/2022 year of Yahweh Shemal Shai turning up. Anyway, so he's reading this. Let me do this. Okay, I'm 4 minutes and 6 seconds in, because he makes a statement which proves that we're not the only ones that teach that Babylon is America. So let me, and I highly believe he got that from us. Before YouTube even came on the scene. Because he only been in this, in the scriptures as far as, I guess, a teacher. And I think the Prophecy Club goes back 28 years. So I've been in the truth for well over 30 years. So you know what I'm gonna do? Okay, I'm at 4 minutes and 6 seconds in, but I'm gonna jump around a little bit. Okay, this is the 21 seconds in. It says, a nation, a world that forgets God, end results dream. And he speaks about a woman having this dream about a Secret Service type people grabbing her up. And in the dream, I believe it's, a matter of fact, I know when you watch from the beginning of the video, 4 minutes in, it mentions that the Russians hit DC and New York, and that they went into a deep underground military base. And what was said in a dream that some of those bases were hit and destroyed. So this is a dream. I don't know. I said in a previous video that we're in a time of prophecy. So that's all I ever talk about is prophecy. That I said in previous videos that Israel will receive these visions and these dreams and so forth. But I also said that you have other nations that receive dreams too. That's in, Job 33:15, if I'm not mistaken. I'm positive it is. Numbers the 23rd, I think it's the account starts at the 22nd verse. But when you read 23rd and 24th verse, it tells you how the Most High showed Balaam the future. The Most High showed this heathen, Balaam, he showed the destruction of this place. He showed the kingdom of heaven and how he would take the kingdom of heaven, how he would take this place. He saw that, and he was a heathen. So this woman, whether she looks like an Edomite and actually Israelite or Edomite, doesn't matter, because you got to understand that other nations get visions too. They see things too. They get dreams too. They prophesy too, meaning say things that's going to happen by a vision. So let me go back, and you can listen to the whole thing. I'm not going to just play this whole thing. You can listen to it to yourself and jump around. Let me go back to 4. You know what let me do? Let me go to 402. So listen up. Okay, here it is right here. Um, okay, building and commented. I didn't realize these bunkers, deep underground military bases, which are bunkers, are so big. They're like cities. They're like cities, madame, small cities. Some are even larger than this one. I see. I responded as the man led me to a briefing room. There were already well-known officials sitting around a large table. As soon as I entered, I began speaking. Situation update, madame. A man said as he jumped up from the table, papers in hand, and continued, DC has been hit as well as New York. So I'm going to let you listen to the rest of this. Listen up. Hope you can hear it.
There were already well-known officials sitting around a large table. As soon as I entered, I began speaking. Situation update. Madam, a man said if he had just jumped up from the table, papers in hand, to continue. DC has been hit as well as New York. But that's not all. What is it, Ryan? I asked in a sharp-worded voice. Madam, some of the underground bunkers have also been destroyed and some of the tunnels have been collapsed underground and people are trapped. There's no way.
Okay, so immediate precept comes to mind is bring this over. Amos 9, verse 2, though they dig into hell. Now, this precept alone shows you that hell is not an actual place that you burn in. Satan got a trident. You call a pitchfork is actually a trident. It goes back to the Roman Empire. The gladiators used to fight with tridents. So that whole idea, the devil in the red suit with tail and all that, it goes back partially to the Roman Empire. Also the Greeks, Hades. Anyway, it says, though they dig into hell, that's those bunkers, those deep underground military bases or bunkers, thence, though they dig into hell, meaning into the ground, thence shall my hand take them, though they climb up to heaven to their ships, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, which is a mountaintop retreat. So you got these mountaintop retreats that these preppers had put together, planned on living up there and, with enough food and water and whatever. Now, when you go to Second Ezra's, the 15th chapter, and around about the 50th verse, it says that they're gonna wind up those preppers that are up in the mountains. They're gonna run out of food, and they're gonna start eating the other people, most likely that died. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm not gonna. Let me do this. Spare me for a minute. Let me do it this way. Because we're in the time of prophecy. We're not in the time of telling you how well David played a stringed instrument. and wore brown sandals with gold fringes on it. You know, we're not here to tell you that. We're at the end of this thing. And what's constantly in my mind, you know, I go through it over and over again, are these prophecies. And as you know or should know, when the last, you can really say the last two prophecies, the MOTB and the destruction. So you're going to have a number of events that's going to take place. So where did I say I was going to go? Second Ezra 15. And I'll give you the verse in a minute. Let me do it this way. I know it's around about the 50th verse. Okay, 58th verse. Let me start at the 50th verse. And the glory of that power shall be dried up as the flower of the heat shall arise that is sent over thee. And that's, let me read on. Thou shalt be weakened. You know what? Maybe I should go up a couple more verses. Yeah, I got to go a couple more, a couple of verses up. I'll start at the 41st verse. It said, fire and hell and flying swords. Flying swords, you know that's code for ICBM missiles and hypersonic missiles, which are low cruise missiles. And many waters, that all fills may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. The Revelation 8 chapter tells you about a third part of the sea shall be dry, contaminated, and they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of wood, and the day are the missiles, and grass and meadows and their corn. Joel, the second chapter, tells you that before them is the Garden of Eden, and behind them a desolate, I think it says a desolate wilderness. Somebody can put it in the description. It says that they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. They shall come to her, we know what Babylon is, and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her, which is the destruction. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto the heavens. The smoke goeth up forever and ever. And all they that be about her shall bewail her. That's Revelation 18. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear. And ultimately, we're going to put them in fear. And thou, Asia, that are partaker of the hope of Babylon, because the Moabites became rich through Babylon, Revelation 18. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her. Yeah, the Chinese and other nations have become Americanized, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. When you go back to Revelation 17, Revelation 18, it speaks about the fornication. That's the whoredom. Meaning you went to bed with this whore. Jump down to the 49th verse. I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy houses with destruction and death. This is talking about Babylon. And the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower, that the heat shall arise that is sent over it. The Apostle Peter speaks of it, of seeing, because Apostle Peter is a prophet as well as the apostle, because he speaks of the destruction. He speaks about the coming in as a thief in the night, and that all the elements shall melt with fervent heat. It says, thou shalt, 51st verse, thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes, and as one chastised with wounds, so that the mighty and lovers shall not be able to receive thee. Would I with jealousy have so proceeded against thee, saith the Lord? 53rd verse. If thou hast not always slain my chosen, which are the Israelites, and this is why they're going to receive this destruction, utter destruction. 53rd verse. If you hadst not always slain my chosen, the Israelites. And in Daniel the 7th chapter, it said, wore out the saints. It's even in Revelation 18, how they came against the apostles and the saints. It said, exalting the stroke of thine hands, and saying over their dead when thou wast drunken. And that's their belief. They were drunken with their belief. They thought, Isaiah 47, they thought that the kingdom would never end. Psalms 49 and 11. The inward thought is that their house shall continue forever. They call their lands after their own names. Set forth the beauty of thy countenance, the reward of thy whoredom, which is Babylon the Great, shall be in thy bosom. Therefore shalt thou receive recompense. Recompense means payback. And this is what guys like Vocab and others are afraid of. That's why they demonize us. They demonize the One Westers because we're the only Israelite groups, instead of group, that say that you people are the Edomites and you're going into slavery. These other groups don't teach that. Let me go to look up the word recompense. Recompense. Make amends to someone for loss or harm suffered. Compensate. Compensation or reward given for loss or harm suffered or effort made. So you got, guys like Tariq Nasheed looking for a check, which is cool, but guess what? The check ain't gonna do it. they got to give themselves to us. True reparation. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And even in the, let me see if I still got that tab up. If you go to the commentary, one of the commenters pretty much said, payback is a bitch. You did something to somebody's gonna come back to you. What is this synonym of recompense? Some common synonyms of recompense are compensate, indemnify, pay, reimburse, remunerate, pay back money, repay, and satisfy. So they're saying in the form of money, oh, you did this, you got to pay this guy that. True recompense is to do what they did to you. The law says an eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, burning for burning, death for death. So now let's come back over here. It says 55th verse, the reward of thy whoredom, Babylon the Great, shall be in thy bosom. Therefore shalt thou receive recompense. And this is something that Esau doesn't want to deal with. That's why they have this term called critical race theory. They don't want, the history books to contain what happened in the old South, slavery. They don't want that to be in the history books because number one, they're ashamed of it, of their history. And number two, if you believe in the scriptures say that you got to pay. If you committed something wrong against somebody, you're going to receive for the wrong that you have done. And where's that? Give me a second here. Give me a second. You will, I'm almost positive it's in Colossians. Receive the wrong, should have said for the wrong that you did. Put in Bible. Okay, boom. Colossians, I was right. Colossians 3, verse 25. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the blue letter and the King James. Colossians 3, verse 25. It says, but he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of persons. Payback is a bitch. You put us into slavery, you have to go into slavery. And this is why they demonize the one Western, because we teach that, like I said, these other Israelite groups, these Old Testament only Israelites and these other groups, they don't teach that, man. If you notice, Vocab Malone, he doesn't say too much negative about GOCC because they teach that Edomites can make it and other nations can make it. The IOG, Israel of God, they teach that the other nations can make it. So his focus is on us, the former one Westers, because this is one thing that they don't like that we say, but we back it up in the Bible and with the scriptures. So we come back over here. 55th verse again. The reward that I hoard them shall be in thy bosom. Wherefore shalt thou receive recompense, payback. 56, like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Lord, even so shall the Most High do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. America's not going to be great again. You had your greatness. Time and chance happeneth to all men. So now is the time for your downfall. Daniel 4, verse 17, it speaks about one kingdom being lifted up over another kingdom to show that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. Look, the ancient Egyptians never came back into their former glory. '57 verse, thy children shall die of hunger, and that this is for you preppers, and thou shalt fall to the sword. Thy city shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. The modern day sword is the gun. They that be in the mountains, you preppers, because you're trusting in, these big bags of rice and beans and beef jerky, whatever you have, and your solar, batteries and all that stuff. You're gonna run out of food up there, and then you're gonna wind up committing the heinous act of eating your loved ones. It says, they that be in the mountains shall die of hunger and eat their own flesh, meaning their people. If grandma dies, you're going to eat her. Your wife dies, you're going to eat her. You die before your wife is going to eat you. You're going to eat your children. That's in the movie, great movie. They didn't make a big deal about it in the theater. The Road. If you never saw that movie, you have to watch that movie. The movie, The Road, with this guy, Mortensen. What's his name? Vitor Morgensen. Okay, you watch that movie. If you saw it in the theaters, you're gonna leave the theater with your head down, man. And all throughout the movie, it was all about cannibalism. When they caught you, they would eat you. Not a woman that played his wife that had the son. She just went out into the woods and wound up dying. And somebody found her and ate her. She said, she bugged out, and she said, if they find us, they're gonna kill you. They're gonna kill my son. They're gonna rape me. Then they're gonna kill me, and then they're gonna eat me. And that's what she said. And guess what? That's what they did in the movie. They didn't show her when she left, but we already know what happened to her. She wound up dying out there. So this is coming to America with this whole, this thing now in China. They're locking everybody down. If they're locking everybody down again, how are you going to make the products? That goes into your blockchain, supply chain, issue, blockchain, whatever the hell you want to call it. This is all by design. And the average American or the average person around the world, they don't know what's going on. We know because what do? We read these scriptures, and we know that these scriptures these prophetic scriptures are coming to pass. The other people don't see that. And the ones of you that think you know the scriptures, you Christians out there, most of y'all come against us. Not realizing what's going to come on this country. And ultimately, the missiles are going to come. The other day, the president, Biden, the other day, look it up. He spoke about food shortages. He said, You think it's bad now, it's going to get worse. Prices are going to go up even further because you don't understand the money system. Like the scripture said, then it shall be known who are my chosen. You're going to come to the realization that the Israelites, the former One Westers, mainly GMS, had the whole story right and exact. Because you have the other groups that know that the Israelites teach and so forth, but they don't have 100% truth. They're missing one major prophecy. And guess what? They know that what we say is true, but guess what? They can't come out and say it because then they would have to admit that, oh, GMS was correct. So they kind of hoping it never comes. So when it comes, how are you going to explain it to your people? It says, 58 verse, they that be in the mountains, you preppers, shall die of hunger and eat their own flesh and drink their own blood for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. Thou as unhappy shall come through the sea and receive plagues again. This is before the missiles hit, remember? This is before the missiles hit. It says, thou as unhappy shall come through the sea and receive plagues again. In other words, you're going to go to another place where you can find food and you're going to catch hell in that other place. And they showed you that in that movie, The Road. You have to watch that movie, The Road. When I saw the movie, I got it on DVD and I watched that thing a bunch of times. I mean, I can watch it right now. If the DVD was in my hand, I'll watch it right now. You got to watch that movie because they got man. They damn. Well, you had the movie, the Book of Eli. That movie was worse than the Book of Eli. Because in the Book of Eli, oh no, they were no. In the Book of Eli, they committed the heinous act of cannibalism with the old man and the old woman, and she was cutting up. She had all that meat because she had a trap. She would trap people, kill them, and then cut them up as steaks. So I'm positive you saw that movie. But guess what? That had some comic relief to it. The Road didn't have no comic relief to it at all. You ain't gonna be laughing when you're watching the movie The Road. It says, thou as unhappy shall come through the sea and receive plagues again. And in the passage, they shall rush on the idle city and shall destroy some portion of thy land and consume part of thy glory, which is a shameful glory, shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory. I believe that's Habakkuk. And shall return to Babylon that was destroyed, meaning partially destroyed. But ultimately, they're going to be fully destroyed. And thou shalt be cast down by them as stubble, because after the smoke is clear, what are you going to have? You're going to have stubble. And they shall be unto thee as fire. What fire? The nuclear fire. And shall consume thee and thy cities, thy land, and thy mountains, governments, all thy woods, and thy fruitful trees shall they burn up with fire. Thy children shall they carry away captive. That's it. Who gonna carry who away captive? We're gonna carry them away captive. The saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and forever. Daniel 2. The kingdom shall not be left to other people. The kingdom is set up for the sons of Israel, starting with the elect, the chosen. It said, thy children, Esau's children, and the other nations' children, shall they, the Israelites, starting with the elect, carry away captive, and look what thou hast, they shall spoil it and mar the beauty of thy face. The beauty of Babylon's face is the cities and so forth. And how is it going to be marred? By those missiles. So now let me come back to this guy. So listen up, listen up.
There's no way with all this going on that we should be able to get to them. You mean with all of our preparation, supplies, and careful plan, we're still not able to prevent such an atrocity from happening? I said angrily, no, madam, we're not. These weapons are not like the normal ones. It's like the hand of God himself has been behind each one, meaning.
Did you hear that? I got to let you listen to that again. Got to let you listen to that again. Bring that back.
That's a sharp word, voice. Madam, some of the underground bunkers have also been destroyed and some of the tunnels have been collapsed underground and people are trapped. There's no way with all this going on that we should be able to get to them. You mean with all of our preparation, supplies, and careful plan, we're still not able to prevent such an atrocity from happening? I said angrily, no, madam, we're not. These weapons are not like the normal ones. It's like no, we're not able to prevent such an atrocity from happening. I said angrily, no, madam, we're not. These weapons are not like the normal ones. We're still not able to prevent such an atrocity from happening. I said angrily, no, madam, we're not. These weapons are not like the normal ones. No, madam, we're not. These weapons are not like the normal ones. It's like the hand of God himself has been behind each one, meaning.
The hand of God himself will be behind each one. And that's Ezekiel chapter 39, that he's going to be in the presence of those missiles. It says in Hebrews that the Apostle Paul said that the Most High is a consuming fire. He's going to be in those missiles.
This is the fall of America, talked about in Revelation 18, Jeremiah 50, 51. What is it? I say, let's see, what are the others? Isaiah 13, 21, and 47. Then I heard a voice. It talked about in Revelation 18, Jeremiah 50, 51. Are not like the normal ones. It's like the hand of God himself has been behind each one, meaning. This is the fall of America, talked about in Revelation 18, Jeremiah 50, 51. What is it? I say, let's see, what is it? Isaiah 13, 21, and 47. So this is the fall of America, talked about in Revelation 18, Jeremiah 50.
You heard what he said. You know, I'm gonna spread this out like mayonnaise on a sandwich. He mentioned Revelation 18. He mentioned Revelation 18. So now you know that we're not the only ones that, they say we crazy. Oh, that doesn't mean America. Well, wait a minute. You have Edomites. That this guy been around. The Prophecy Club been around, and I remember the Prophecy Club videos back in the early 90s or the mid 90s, whatever. And this guy's been saying that for years. Like I said, we believe he's been watching us. This is before YouTube.
Behind each one, meaning. This is the fall of America, talked about in Revelation 18, Jeremiah 50, 50.
Remember, he said Jeremiah 18, Jeremiah 50, and 51.
What is it? I say, Isaiah 13, 21, and 47.
Isaiah 13. I don't know if he said, if he was given verses, or Isaiah 13, Isaiah 21, and Isaiah 47. As a matter of fact, let me go just to Isaiah. Let me go to Isaiah 21. Oh, yeah, right. God's command that Babylon be taken. And I got to do a breakdown on this if somebody don't do it before me. It says oracles about Edom and Arabia. Isaiah, so he mentioned Revelation 18, Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, Isaiah 13, Isaiah 21, and Isaiah 47. So let's read some of this. Isaiah 21, verse 1, the burden of the desert of the sea as whirlwinds in the south pass through, so it cometh from the desert, from a terrible land. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously. We read this before, but we never read it, broke it down. And the spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam, besiege, O Media. The Elam are the Persians. What does it say in Ezekiel chapter 38? That Gog and Magog should be a god unto them, unto the Persians, which are the Elamites. And Media is also the Russians, another name for the Russians. All the sign thereof have I made to cease. Therefore are my loins filled with pain. Pains have taken hold of me as the pangs of a woman that travaileth. The Lord said he's gonna scream like a travailing woman, right? He's gonna be mad on that day. I was bowed down at the hearing of it. I was dismayed at the seeing of it. Because what did Isaiah see? In Isaiah 13, Isaiah 47, the other scriptures, he saw Isaiah 34. He should have mentioned that one. He saw the mushroom cloud. He said, I saw the heavens roll together as a scroll. And Balaam, the heathen, he saw it too. My heart panted, fearfulness affrighted me. The night of my pleasure have he turned into fear unto me. Prepare the table, watch in the watchtower, and that goes to us. You guys that are playing games, you spies, you undercovers. The Most High got a special punishment for you guys. You ones of us that infiltrate the camps that are actually Israelites, the Most High is going to deal with you very harshly. Because you got to be a damn fool. You got to be a complete retard to watch these videos and to not see that we're telling the truth. Vocab alone, you're going to get a rude awakening. It said, prepare the table, watch in the watchtower. Prepare the table, watch in the, what does it mean to prepare the table? When you sit down and read the scriptures, you open up the scriptures on the table. It said, watch the prophecies, and then go out and speak. Watch in the watchtower. So you watch the news, you watch what's going on, you filter it through the scriptures, and then you teach it to people. Ezekiel 3, first couple of verses. Eat, drink, arise, ye princes, and anoint the shield. 6th verse. For thus hath Yahweh said unto me, go set a watchman, keep saying watchman, let him declare what, ooh, all you other guys that are lollygagging, you're not making videos, you got a million and one excuses, coming out to the camp and doing the videos is a chore to you. Guess what? I'm gonna tell you what your problem is. You might not be one of the elect. That word watchman is important. It says 6th verse, Isaiah 21, verse 6. For thus saith Yahweh, hath Yahweh said unto me, go. Go in the Hebrew is halak, which means to go, to do something, move, walk. And I'm gonna click on it. Set a watchman, let him declare what he seeth. So are we the watchmen? Yes. What are we to declare what we see? The prophecies. So let me click on that. Watchman. The Hebrew word is tazapah, a primitive root. It says watchman, watch, behold, look, espy, look up, wait, look well, variant for zophim, to look out or about, spy, watch, keep watch, observe. What are we to observe? These prophecies. And we're to filter them through the scriptures. It says watch, to keep watch, spy, to watch, watch closely. It says a primitive root, properly to lean forward, i.e. to peer into the distance, by implication, to observe, await, behold, aspire, look up well, wait for, keep the watchmen. We are the watchmen. I'm just looking through some of these. Bear me for a minute. Ooh, I like this one. Because Esau is a watchman too in wickedness. Psalm 37, verse 32. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. Vocab, if he had the power, he would kill us. Vocab alone hates us with a perfect hatred. Let me see what else I can glean from this. That is acting up. Isaiah 52, verse 8. Thy watchmen shall lift up the voice. With the voice together shall they sing. Sing a new song, Revelation 14. For they shall see eye to eye when Yahweh shall bring again Zion. Watchmen, a very important position in the Most High's plan, which another word for the watchmen are the prophets. You got guys that came into this thing and turned it back on the plow, went back into the world, changed the doctrine up. Somebody taught, oh, Esau can make it, and this, and the tribes ain't the tribes, and so forth and so on. They weren't of the elect. They weren't the true watchmen, because you continue to watch. Isaiah 56, verse 10, his watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. These are these preachers. That's why so many Jakes are leaving the church and waking up to the fact that they're Israelites. And more of them are going to wake up. They are, because when all hell breaks loose, Reverend Porkchop ain't going to have no answers for them. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. This word right here, watchman. I mean, you can do a whole topic just on the word watchman. Jeremiah 6, verse 17. Also, I set watchmen, prophets, over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, we will not hearken. So who are the watchmen? The prophets. Who are we? We are the watchmen, the prophets. But let me read again. Jeremiah 6, verse 17. Also, I set watchmen over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, we will not hearken. Them chemic guys ain't hearkening. They want to debate us all the time. So they're going to get caught out there. They're going to take that MOTB and they're going to be done. Well, this is for you Jakes that figure you can vote. That voting ain't going to help you. Lamentations 4, verse 17. For, as for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. Because Esau ain't going to be able to save himself. Ezekiel 3, verse 17. Ezekiel 3, verse 2. We are set up as a watchman. So if you leave your post, the Most High is going to destroy you. So a lot of you guys that were former members of GMS that went back into the world, the Most High is going to destroy each and every last one of y'all. Habakkuk 2, verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me, the Lord will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I'm reproved. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that they may run that readeth it. We're familiar with this precept. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. They will tarry, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not tarry. So we're in the time now. We're not going to have children and grandchildren that are going to be prophets after us. This is the generation, the 42nd generation. You have a set of 14 generations coming back once, twice, and a third time. You have 14 generations that come back through the third and fourth generation. So we are that we are that same generation that was back there when Yahweh Shai was walking on the earth. Our grandparents and our great grandparents or our grandparents, they wasn't a part of that generation. We are of that generation that the Lord spoke about. And was that Matthew 24? This generation shall not pass until all things be fulfilled. So we were that generation that was back there when the Romans besieged Jerusalem. So, the mindset that you're supposed to be in. Now, I'm going to say this too. You got a lot of guys out there that they'll do a word search, and that's easy to do. They'll do a word search. They'll look up the word wicked, and they'll look up the word prophet, and they'll look up this word and that word, and they'll line them scriptures up, and then they'll start spitting out them scriptures, and they sound super deep. Not all of y'all. Some of y'all are serious about this. But some of y'all think this is a performance. You know, it's all about, let me see how many people I can get to follow me. Let me see how much money I can get out of this. Let me see how many women I get out of this. So you heard what the man said. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me come back. Let me come back to Isaiah 21. Verse 6. For thus hath the Lord said unto me, go set a watchman. And this is going to be one of my favorites. I got to remember this, because this goes hand in hand with Habakkuk, with what is that, Isaiah 62:6. Give him no rest until Jerusalem is a praise in the earth, till the kingdom is established. Ain't no taking no breaks. You take 2 weeks. I need 2 weeks off. I need to rest up. You can lose your position, which meant you never had the position in the first place. Daniel, the prophet Daniel, said he's going to come back in his lot. He was diligent back then and he's diligent now, whoever he is. Don't ask me who. Well, who's Daniel? I have no idea. He could be in the spiritual realm. He could have just recently passed. Or I don't think he's a newborn baby. Either he's in the spiritual realm that was in this work, so many years back, or he's among us right now. So we don't know. Hey, look, we don't know who we are. We don't know who we were in the past. That's why John the Baptist didn't know who he was. They asked him, "Are you John? Are you Elijah?" He said, "No." Why did he say no? Because he didn't know. But the Lord knew. The Lord, Yahweh knew. He knew exactly who he was. Isaiah 21 verse 6 again. It says, "For thus hath Yahweh said unto me, go." That's an action word. Set a watchman. So a watchman is the prophet. Let him declare. What does it mean to declare? To tell, to make known what he seeth. Buy the truth and sell it not. These 12, the Lord sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, not into the city of the Samaritans, enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, the word here go is halak, action word. Let me look up the word go. And I'm positive it's halak. Let's see. Well, maybe it's not. It's yalak. Okay, yalak, which is from the Greek word, the root word halak, which means to go. So yalak, to go, walk, come, to go, walk, depart, proceed, move, go, meaning do something. You got this word, then run with it. So let's go to the word halak, which is the root of the word. To go, walk, come, to go, walk, proceed, to carry, to lead away, to do something. Get this word, and then don't get this word, don't put it in a napkin and hide it. Because the Lord is an austere man, but you take this truth and you teach this truth. Let me come back here. So I love this precept right here. Verse 6, Isaiah 21. For thus hath Yahweh said unto me, go, set a watchman, let him declare what he seeth. Did it say, go, set up a picnic table for niggas to eat burgers and hot dogs with fringes on? Did he say, have a rap battle with other Israelites that rap? You know, drop a new out. You got brothers doing that. That's what they do. That's what they do. All right. We don't do that here at GMS. We ain't got time to do that. And what is this guy? The hell in the movie Predator? What's the brother's name? I met him. That dude was tall as hell. Yeah, I can't think of his name. He made a statement in the movie. They said, you're bleeding. Or I think it was Jesse Ventura that said that. This guy said, you're bleeding. And he said, I ain't got time to bleed. Well, guess what? We ain't got time to do that extracurricular bullshit. Simple, straight, and to the point. Eat this word, go out and teach the sons of Israel. The brother from Italy, GMS, had a dream that he saw myself and Apostle Gabar, and it was like 4 a.m, something like that. And I think we said you didn't prepare nothing, and he went to prepare some food, but I didn't mean that. I meant look, do the work, do the work. So you can watch that video on go to Apostle Gabar's page. And it's just that simple, man. Don't be having no Hebrew Israelite fashion shows, no cookouts, none of that, man. And see, they used to do that at One West. You used to have a lot of extracurricular cookouts and all that. Look, man, you're supposed to be out there. Oh, and the people that came to the cookouts were the motherfuckers you never seen on the street. The guys that never came out on the highways and the byways, we had a cookout, them motherfuckers came out the woodwork. I said, who are you, brother? Man, I've been in this thing before you. I've been in this thing for 20 years. I said, I never see you on the highways and the byways. Well, I got to get out. I got to get on out there. You know where them guys at? Back in the world, getting ready to get chipped up and lit up. They're going to get chipped up, then they're going to get lit up. And so, I'm going to stay on it. 6th verse. For thus hath Yahweh said unto me, go, set a watchman, let him declare what he seeth. Not ask for permission. Can I teach this? No, you just teach it, man. In Numbers, there was a young man prophesying in the camp, and I believe that was in the wilderness. And Joshua got mad at the guy and told Moses, look, tell that guy to stop prophesying. And Moses said, look, I wish all the children of Israel could prophesy. 7th verse. And he saw a chariot with a couple of horsemen and a chariot of asses and the chariot of camels. And he hearkened diligently with much heed. And he cried, a lion, my Lord. I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights. I am set in my ward whole nights. Meaning, bringing it up to date, I'll get up 3 a.m. I can't go back to sleep. I'll go look at the videos. I'll come across a video that a brother did that has inspired me to do a or something similar to what he did. So there's a lot of times a lot of them videos that come up, a lot of them come up at 4 a.m, 3 a.m. I was going through Isaiah 64, and it speaks about the perfect. Matter of fact, let me go to that. And I'm gonna get back into the Stan Johnson video. that's all I really wanted at him anyway. I didn't see the whole video, but he said it. You heard it out the horse's mouth, so to speak, right? Let's go to Psalms. What is that? Psalm 64. A true prophet, a true man of the Lord, and I'm not saying about all of y'all, but a true prophet of the Lord is pretty much a loner. I'm gonna prove that to you. I don't want to read this whole thing. Okay, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. That's Illuminati, who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. It says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. At the perfect. So now let's look up the word perfect. The perfect is not a guy that has 4 women. Let's look up the word perfect. Okay, the Hebrew word is thumb. It says perfect, complete, meaning eat this whole roll, go out and teach the children of Israel. Complete, perfect, one who lacks nothing in physical strength, beauty, etc. Sound, wholesome. Listen at this. An ordinary, quiet sort of person. And I'm very quiet. You know, I talk when I get with certain brothers that I'm cool with. But like when brothers used to come out a lot in the beginning to the house, I wouldn't say too much. I would ask certain questions and I would just sit there and observe these brothers. You can ask them. Any of them guys that came, Dallas, GMS Dallas used to come out a lot, about once every year. And I would say, you know, we eat, drink, or whatever. I'll say a few words, you know, then I would watch, you know. It said an ordinary, and that fits Apostle Kabar, that fits Apostle Rhymelob, and many others. Apostle Ricard, he's out there in Texas, but pretty much he's in his own solitary spirit. Like he's doing them little videos by himself, so to speak. Now he got brothers with him that read for him, but that spirit was on him to go out to Texas. He'll probably be out there till the missiles come. Because your focus is on this truth right here. Because you know it's getting ready to come to pass. It says sound, wholesome, an ordinary, quiet sort of person, complete, morally innocent, having integrity, one who is morally and ethically pure. You try your damnedest to be perfect in this world. You might not always, you know, achieve that goal, but your goal is to be a perfect man. Shouldn't be hanging out in the corner. You know, Jake, they'll hang out on the corner all day. I know that for years. No matter where I went to, you always had Jake on the corner, and they'll be out there all fucking day talking shit. And a lot of them live off of their women. Real talk. So that's all I wanted on that. So these chariot with these animals, this is a vision that he saw. Okay. I love this verse too, the 8th verse. And he cried, a lion, my Lord, I stand continually. Who's the lion? I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights. Let me look up the word ward. Masha Marath. God, charge, function, obligation, service. When you come into this truth, you take hold of the plow, you're obligated. Service, watch, guard, watch, house of detention or confinement, keeping, preserving, charge, injunction, office, function, ceremonial. You guys want to build yourself up. How do I become a teacher? I want to go out there and teach. Well, guess what? Watch all the videos that you can watch. Of course, you're going to have some favorites and ask questions and look at the comment board. A lot of questions are answered on the comment board. Any question that you have, we definitely did a video on it. '29th verse. I'm going to read to the 10th verse. And behold, here comes a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon. And these chariots of men represents the angels. Remember the angel that proclaimed that Babylon is fallen, right? That's in Revelation 18. It's also in another place in Isaiah. It says, and behold, here cometh a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, and all the graven images of her gods he had broken onto the ground. Is fallen. Let me try this. Bear with me for a minute. So, okay, it's in Revelation, it's in Jeremiah, and it's in one place in Isaiah. I just read it. Revelation 14, verse 8. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Jeremiah 51 and 8. Babylon is fallen, suddenly fallen and destroyed. This is talking about the same scenario. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. Revelation 18, verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. This is talking about when Babylon becomes a desert. The only animals that you're going to have there is desert-like creatures. So now let's come back. 10th verse. Oh, my trashing and the corn of my floor, that which I have heard of Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel, have I declared unto you. So when we go out there and we're teaching you of the power of where we get our power from, where our authority comes from. It comes from the Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. So let me give you a little bit more of this individual. Let me come back.
With all of our preparation, supplies, and careful plan, we're still not able to prevent such an atrocity from happening. I said angrily, no, madam, we're not. These weapons are not like the normal ones. It's like the hand of God himself has been behind each one, meaning this is the fall of America, talked about in Revelation 18, Jeremiah 50, 51. What is it? Isaiah 13, 21, and 47. Then I heard a voice in my dream say, this is one of the things that makes me believe that she really hears God. somebody says in a dream or vision, they hear an audible voice like this, very unusual. It's also very confirming that this is God. So I heard a voice in my dream say, those who have stored up their treasures and don't know me. It didn't say those that we shouldn't store up. It's saying that if we stored up and we don't know him, we wasted our time. Those who have stored up the treasures and don't know me, this day is thy soul is required to me as for me. Then what will you do with all you have stored unworthily? It's going to change. I find myself floating over a map of the United States, and I'm alone. I know it by the outline of the shape, although it's not exactly as it is now. But what I'm seeing, I don't really understand. It looks like all of this is covered from this viewpoint of the clouds, white clouds. And as I'm looking, I feel coldness. Then I hear the words, a season of cold has begun, a time of prolonged winter, a time of coldness upon your nation and world of winter. Now, it's about to get pretty tough in this particular dream. I do believe it's of God. I do believe it fits with everything I know.
And we believe that this destruction will come in the wintertime. So let's see.
One question, which we'll get to and discuss. I believe what has happened that at this point, the Russians have hit. Now, in my opinion, that takes place about 5 months before the end of the tribulation, when Jesus returns for the second and final time. And remember, he returns the next time on first fruits, which we would call the second time. And then the third time is on Feast of Trumpets.
As you can see, clearly went off on that. When the Lord came back over 2,000 years ago, when he comes back this time, he ain't coming back no more. Okay, and he's delivering the elect and destroying this place.
Which is the day that he destroys the wicked, the tares, and we get our rewards. So now let's go on. I don't know if any of the parts of the world are as affected, because all I'm saying is this is my nation, meaning America. I do know this is an abnormal cold that happens sometimes after the strike cold, an abnormal that happens sometimes after the strikes upon our nation with the weapons of mass destruction. Because it's so cold and a lot of people are homeless and have no shelter, or if they do, no electricity or heat, I see many people dead, lying everywhere due to the harshness of the outside elements and forces. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, oh, Jesus would never do that. Oh, the closer you get to Jesus, the more you find out his personality, and I will assure you, he can be very, very harsh. I recall the time that I actually said this to the Lord. I said, I'm shocked at how hard you get. You think Jesus doesn't correct people, correct them very harshly? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you because you got a lesson that is on your way if you get close enough to me today. It is a time when we, America, is already fighting hard our invaders, Russia, China, and others. Women, China wouldn't be a part of it. Well, as I also said that there'd be a couple parts in here that I don't totally agree with.
An assembly of great nations in Jeremiah, either Jeremiah 50 or Jeremiah 51. I'm not going to go to it. If someone would like to put it in, they can put it in. It's either Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51. And what I believe too, I mean, according to the scriptures, of course, there'll be a war between America. Well, we have to see, but this thing that's happening now, pretty much the U.S. have declared war against Russia by doing what? By supplying them with weapons. This guy Zelensky is asking for a what do you call that? No-fly zone. Do you know what that means? That means when if the U.S. was to give them a no-fly zone, that's a clear declaration of war. Meaning, if there's any fighter jets, Meg fighter jets from Russia over any of the Ukraine, that the U.S. or the U.S. can supply the fighter jets to blow them out of the sky. So if if the US blows one Russian meg fight out of the sky, that's a declaration of war. Although they already made a declaration of war by supplying the enemy. The US is supplying the enemy of Russia. So that makes Russia the enemy to America. Clearly a declaration of war. And another thing, there's been reports out of a lot of so-called UFO sightings in the Ukraine. Why? Because Mosai set up the angels to be the referees. Read Revelation chapter 7 on down. Hurt not the trees, neither the grass nor the trees, till our servants be sealed in their forehead. So they don't want it to escalate too much. Let's listen to a little bit more.
And that's one of them, because the angel told Dmitri that God raised up China, Japan, and many of the nations go against the Russians and defeat the Russians. So here she says the invaders of Russia and China. So that part, I don't agree. Because many other things to consider.
Well, he should read the Apocrypha, 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, from the first verse. It speaks about Asia, Babylon.
America's already fighting hard, our invaders, Russia, China, and others. They've already taken over parts of some of the states, but which one I'm not sure. I have this knowledge as I've entered into this part of the dream. It was a time there was no electrical power was available for most of the people anywhere except.
Oh, there was a blackout, and the internet went down in London, I believe London or England. Let me look that up. I'm gonna look that up. Bear with me for a minute. London blackout. Let's see what comes up. Let's see what comes up. Power cut. Let's see. They're not dating anything. Ain't this a? Okay, let's go to the independent. Okay, 1 day ago. Power cut hits parts of London as internet and traffic lights go down. Read again. Power cut hits parts of London as internet and traffic lights go down. So we know the deal, right? We don't know what story they're going to tell you, but we know what's going on. We know what's up. That's all I'm going to say. Let me bring that back. Tunnels reopened after blaze because there was a fire, and I believe it was something like 38,000 homes were blacked out and all that. But like I said, we know the backstory. Power cuts and rush hour chaos during rush hour. Because a blackout when everything goes out, no traffic lights during rush hour, that's not a good thing. London, the mirror, London power cut, blackouts across capital. London is a capital. And that's also one of the city states, 3 city states, Vatican City, London, and DC. London represents the financial part, as thousands of homes hit by outage. Like I said, I'm gonna say it again. We know the backstory on that. So let's listen to a little bit more. See what she got to say.
For the upper elite and in some military safe zones that were supposed to have been set up to help our people, unless you were a Christian. In other words, they weren't helping Christians. So this is a time after the Christian purge has been complete, when most of the Christians have already been killed around the globe, but especially America. The ragtag military had become judge, jury, and executioner, and the decisions were made by whomever happened to be on duty that day. Our government was militarized, but there were no more agencies like CIA, FBI, or other legal agencies in existence at this time. Days were hard. The sun was scorching hot, a great difference from the prior coldness, but the nights were cold, harsh, and bitter at times. If you had a safe place to lay your head at night, you were considered blessed beyond all measure. At this dream passed before my eyes like a movie on a big screen. I saw our once proud nation had turned into one of lawlessness and chaos. So,
That's 2nd Ezra 15, 2nd Ezra 16, and all throughout the scriptures, it speaks about that too. It says in Isaiah 65 that we will eat, our food will be sure because we have faith.
so this is not immediate. I believe it's several years down the road after America has walked away from God even further than we already have. Remember, Revelation 18, it says, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. He cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean, hateful bird. So I don't think it's immediate. I don't think it's in the next few years. I think we've got some time. In my opinion, I think it's about, well, if the tribulation, I'll say this way, probably around 6.5 years into the tribulation.
Yeah, he doesn't understand that part about the tribulation, 7-year tribulation period. Going back to Daniel, the 9th chapter, we start from the 24th verse and read down to the 27th verse. And they say it's talking about the Antichrist. No, that already took place. Okay, that was talking about the time when our Lord came on the scene and he was cut off. It uses the term cut off. Messiah shall be cut off. Then that in the middle of the 7 years, that's talking about during the time period of 70 AD. The fulfillment of that was 70 AD. So these Christians don't know that.
I've covered that, so I'll move on. Also, most of the animal life, except for a few, were gone. If this is after or before return of Jesus, she's not a prophecy student like that, but she's hearing from God more so than I do. So, but in answer to this is about 5 months before Jesus returns. I'm talking about at the very end of the tribulation. My eyes traveled and stopped on a large group of people, both male and female, and I knew in this dream that they assumed because there were a large number of people that would be safe. They were wrong. They had no choice but to lay in open to sleep, but because there were no more trees left standing in this location. The bombs and missiles had taken them all out. Most of the buildings too. There was very little cover left for them to hide themselves in. There are many sick people among them by their appearances. So at this point, most of the Christians are gone. Most of the Christians, it wasn't rapture, most of them were just dead. And by the way, that's okay. Be faithful unto death, and I'll give you a crown of life. Even though he had set up guards to watch and cover the perimeter, I saw another group of men and women enter boldly into the first group's camp. They dispatched the guards with brutality. Some had knives, while others had clubs to do the job. After killing the guards, both the women of the second.
2nd Ezra chapter 15. Again, once again.
Group would choose a person, or two, or three, and have their way with those who they had been caught unaware sleeping on the ground. It is a horrible sight to behold. It did not matter the age of the person or whether they were male or female, or their abuse continued until every one of the second group finally decided that they were done. Although each fought back valiantly, even though many were sick. Both groups of people were almost savage in their actions. Now, this is a picture of those people that have taken the mark of the beast, both ones. I mean,
So you just heard what he said, that these are the people that have taken the mark of the beast, MOTB. So it's obvious he knows what it is. He knows about that prophecy.
the people taking the mark of the beast upon the people that have taken the mark of the beast. I do not believe this is a picture of the evil having their way with the good, because I believe Jesus is going to be protecting them. And to a large degree, while it won't be a rapture, he's going to be protecting them. That's the one. Hardly traces of the great civilized people among them. They all appeared to not have bathed in a very long time. It was like the land had reverted back to the days of savagery. After the second group of people had their way with the first group, they would then pick up one or one of theirs, pick the one or ones who were the most frightened and terrified, and they would murder them for food. Okay, well, what does Revelation 18 say? It says, and they shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Now, when I was memorizing Revelation, I really struggled with that. What does that really mean? Well, the only other deeper understanding that could come of it is it means exactly what it says. There will come a time when they will eat people on the earth and burn them with fire. We're going to eat them. And that's not so out of context, because if you go back into the Old Testament, that was done often, but it was done in the Old Testament. Most frightened, terrified, they would murder them for food with their knives, because they heard them say they're better eaters. This in my dream I felt was American people after she had been humbled and brought low. This I know is after the invasion is in full swing. America is battling and she is falling. Oh Jesus, this is so hard to see. Please help me. And she is falling. I felt as American people after she had been humbled and brought low. This I know is after the invasion is in full swing. America is battling and she is falling. Is after the invasion is in full swing. America is battling and she is falling. Oh Jesus, this is so hard to see. Please help me. Daughter, you need to see. The story must be told of what happens when a nation, as a whole, forgets me and refuses to return. I heard my sweet Jesus say softly. Okay, remember, Revelation also said, and she saith in her heart, it said, and the widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall a plague come in one day, death, mourning, and pain. Shall be utterly burned with fire, as strong as the Lord God who judgeth it. Because America falls, that America is supposed to be the Christian. We're supposed to be the one holding up the Bible, holding up the name.
Yeah, that's that false Renaissance slash plantation Christianity. That's that false Christianity. You know, the Lord in Matthew 10 said that we're going to be hated. Ain't nobody hate no Christians. They hate us. They hate the Israelites.
Jesus, because we fell so far away from him and become the habitation of every full of every palace, and cage of every unclean hated birth, this is what he will do. Now, this is not doing it to the Christians. I believe he's going to take care of the Christians. Matter of fact, let me just check this out. Okay, I spent a lot of time on prayer topic. I think God raised up josephfiction.com to feed God's people. He said again. I think God raised up josephfiction.com to feed God's people so they wouldn't have to take the mark of the beast, more or less. The savagery, I know, doesn't cover the land completely. As a first thought, I see that the Christians have managed to remain civilized in their actions and even had places.
Anyway, you can watch the rest of this video if you want. The Prophecy Club. This video was put up a couple of days ago. New info: America after Russians attack 3/28, 2022. And I'm gonna say, Shalom.